Howdy folks, and welcome to another episode of Musket Matters. So this is another one of our ongoing series for new N-SSA shooters so that they can get started participating in this sport. And in our last video we talked about how to make bullet lube, or more properly an anti-fouling agent. And in this video we're going to talk about how to dip lube bullets. So this is the simplest way to lubricate your bullets and to apply the lube to the bullet. And we're going to talk about a few different kinds of bullets here and the setup here. So for the setup, I'm just using a hot plate, electric hot plate, and I have an old metal cap tin for musket percussion caps. Now, these are hard to find anymore. Most of the manufacturers have switched to plastic things for shipping their caps. So if you can't find a little metal tin like that, you can just take a soup can or a can of canned vegetables and cut the bottom off of it and make yourself a little metal container like that. So that's the easiest way to handle these small amounts of lube. You're going to need some of your bullet lube handy that we made in the last video so that you can replenish the tin as you're going. All right, so the bullets that we're going to work with here, we've got a traditional style mini ball or expanding ball with a hollow cavity. We've got a modern variant of the expanding ball. This is known as the Hodgkin or the skirmisher bullet. It's also a hollow cavity bullet, similar to a mini ball, except it's got it's a semi-wad cutter nose, so it punches very clean holes in paper for scoring, and it's got a massive lube groove for holding a lot of lube. A lot of skirmishers like that bullet. We're also going to do some flat base bullets. So this is a Smith carbine bullet, and we're going to do an compression style of bullet. So these with the hollow cavity are expanding balls, and they are thus called because when the charge goes off, it inflates the bullet like a balloon to take up the rifling. Well, there was another style of bullet called the Wilkinson, or a compression style of bullet like this. And these bullets, rather than expanding to take up the rifling, they would compress. So this flange would get crushed into the rest of the bullet, and that lead has to go somewhere, and so it goes outward and takes up the rifling. When we get to dipping this kind of bullet, it's important you can't pack this giant groove here full of lube. So people, tend to think of these as lube grooves, and this is where the bullet collapses on itself. And if you pack it full of lube, the bullet won't be able to collapse, and so it won't take up the rifling like it's supposed to. So you have to be a little bit careful when you're dipping these, and we'll get into that in a second. So we've got our lubricant melted here in the tin, and we're just going to go to dipping. So you'll want some old needle nose pliers. You're going to grab the bullet and set it in the lube, and you want it until all the lube grooves have lube in it. And so that one did not. It only got the bottom two. I would have to add some more lube here to get it, fully cover all the lube rings. Now we'll do the Hodgkin bullet. Now we'll do the Smith bullet. Same thing with the compression bullet, except we're going to preheat the bullet so that it sheds some of that lube. I don't want the lube to seize up inside that cavity. It's okay if some lube gets in there, but I want it to tend to run off. So by preheating the bullet, when you dip it and set it on the aluminum foil, most of the excess will run out of that groove. I give it a shake and then set it down. All right, we'll give those bullets a minute to cool off, and then we'll take a look at them. All right, so we'll take a look at these bullets here. And you'll notice that I didn't get lube. I didn't have enough lube in my tin, so my top lube groove didn't get any lube in it. So I'm going to re-dip these. I've added some more. I was a little nervous because what I don't want is I don't want lube to come over the shoulder on this Hodgkin bullet. I don't need any lube on the nose, and so I wanted it to be a little bit less lube than more lube. But anyway, I'm going to re-dip those guys. The Smith bullet here, it did just fine. And our Wilkinson bullet here, it's just fine. So there's a little bit of lube down in that compression groove, but not enough that it's going to hurt anything. And the lube is mostly on the base of the bullet. You know, there's a very fine lube groove. These don't have a big lube carrying capability. So once you've done that, well, let's go ahead and re-dip these guys that didn't have enough lube in them. So we're going to do that again. All right, we'll let those solidify, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, so I added some more lube to my tin, and I re-dipped these hollow base expanding ball bullets, and now I've got lube that covers, that lube in all of the bullet grooves. There's a little bit that gets into the base, and if that bothers you, you know, you can get that out of there easy enough. Probably doesn't matter for what we're doing. And the excess lube that's around the tail, you know, you can just get that off and put it back in your tin. So if you're lucky, you can shoot these as cast. So you just dip them and shoot them. A lot of shooters like to size their bullets so that they either you have to size them to get them to fit the bore of their gun, or they just want to size them to make sure that each bullet is perfectly consistently round and the same size for competition shooting. So what we have here is a sizing die made by Mr. Tom Crone. I'll put his contact information down below in the description. He doesn't have a website or email or any of that stuff. You got to call him old school on the phone. Lee Precision used to make very nice sizing dies that worked with their single stage press. But they quit for some reason 2-3 years ago. They don't make anything bigger than 515. So they basically abandoned the big bore muzzleloading market. So Tom Crone's about your only option, and I highly recommend him. Very good product and fantastic service. Anyway, this is a 5.77 sizing die, but you're going to use whatever's appropriate for your gun and bullet. So anyway, what this does, in addition to sizing the bullet, is it will wipe off any excess lube that's on your bullet. So each bullet will have a consistent same amount of lube on it. So you just put it on the ram and you just push it right through the sizing die. And now you have a sized bullet that's all the grease grooves are perfectly packed with lubricant. So that's ready to use in a cartridge. We'll do the same thing with this RCBS Hodgkin bullet. Same thing. You see, I'm going to dig this excess lube out of the base. So you now have a bullet where it's, you know, perfectly packed with lubricant and sized. And then we'll do this compression bullet. We can't do the Smith bullet because it's 50 caliber. So same thing, nice and sized and lubed and ready to go. So this is a simple way to dip lubricate your bullets. Again, it's, you know, a little bit of a misnomer. It's not really functioning as a bullet lubricant so much as an anti-fouling agent. The idea is by coating your bore with these each time you load a fresh bullet, it helps keep the fouling soft from the black powder residue that forms on the inside of the bore. So that's it for how to dip lube bullets. Please like and subscribe if this was useful to you. If you know any new shooters to the North-South Skirmish Association that are trying to understand, you know, the intricacies of what we do in our hobby and how to get ready to shoot, feel free to share this video with them. And stay tuned for future episodes. I'm going to be making several videos in this vein to help new recruits understand how to get started in this sport. So, I hope you liked it, and stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks. This video is sponsored by Fourth Armory, your source for templates for making historical paper cartridges.